It seemed like to me that it was just too many personal opinions being thrown in there.
Mm.
And the organization that we had at first just was tainted. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna just sit back and see what happened, because if we're gonna grow, we have to accept, people for who they are. But it just seemed more of, I don't know, it just seemed to get more disorganized and more too much distraction on little silly things versus the things that we should have been concentrating on.
Or doing the things that we were normally doing.
Right.
Right. So when we got to the point where we were having meetings about what kind of food we could bring to Shabbat, like you can't bring anything that you gotta warm up. It needs to be cold. Like having whole meetings about that versus having a meeting about feeding the homeless. Like,
Or
it
even
was
where
just
Kia
like,
was coming from, it's like, okay, she know her stuff. Like my brother said over there, she the plug. I mean, you
Right.
the plug in your own way, Zaya the plug in her way. We all are. But it's like, if she knows what she's talking about, it's worth listening to.
Right.
But it was like, I just felt like, I know we always tried to operate as a whole, but to me, there's always still should be levels. So it was like, those that were up here should have just, probably should have made decisions and talked it over with the group, because that's how it originated. So it was like, like a board almost. So it's like, if you're asking everybody like, what you think, what you think, what you think, you're never going to come to an agreement. Yes.
So would you say that based on the integration, because really I kind of understand where you guys are coming from, it's an integration of a whole nother group. So would you say that the leadership of our original group kind of was trying to, how can I say, in accepting the other group, we kind of lost some of ourselves.
Yes.
very much so.
It didn't seem COY anymore.
Looks like Kia has something she wants to say, so I'm gonna give her back the mic. Say what you say. How
Okay. You want me to say it how I say it?
Say it how you say it.
Okay. Two parts. I mean, it's no secret. We were talking about the other group, right? it was supposed to be all COY. And even having this conversation to say the other group shows how much division it was. For me, being somebody that was very new to the walk, I was not raised in this way. I wasn't raised in a way that was similar to this way. I wasn't exposed to anything similar. I would have loved for someone who was, quote unquote, born in this way to say, hey, let's talk. Let me take you under my wing. Let me show you what I've learned. Tell me what you know, and let's build upon that. And it wasn't that. It very much came in with so much judgment and force to be like, you're doing X, Y, and Z wrong. You need to stop doing it.
It was all don'ts.
Right. And for me, it was like, well, hold on now. Well, why is, and I'm that one, why is your way the right way? We've been doing this all this time, and we have all these mores. You would have thought somebody would have said something, but it was like instantaneous to be, no, your way is the wrong way. Like, there was no compromise. I know people hate that word. There was no compromise to say, let's do what we can to get on the same page, to get the same foundation. Because it got to the point where we started fussing over everything.
Oh, God.
Oh, you can't burn this. Oh, well, why you in there cutting? Like, it was like tit for tat.
Tit for tat.
And it was like, I know, and I tell everybody, Maish was tired of hearing me talk. It was like, oh my God, I got to hear this another week. Like, I just, and we got to a point where we started fighting. And that was a problem for me because I started taking stuff home. Like it wasn't staying there. And, you know, we had to work through that. Like he had to really be like, I don't like the way you're talking to me. You got to give me time. We can have this conversation tomorrow. You know, we had to get to a place because I felt like I got to get this off my chest because I'm so frustrated. And this is no longer fun for me. This is no longer exciting for me. This is too much for me. So that's where that resentment started to come in. I mean, just simple stuff. We started arguing about when we are supposed to iron our clothes. Like, oh, you can't cut your light on, but you're starting your car and your car has power. And it was like,
Right.
are we really doing this?
Right.
Like, it's too much. And for me, disclaimer, I felt like it was a financial thing to say, we need to afford this building that we're in. We need more people to come in with their contributions so the bills are getting paid and it's not so heavy on certain families and not other families that it was like we just started taking anything. Like even stuff that I felt like we believe, yeah, we know that ain't right, but we gonna deal with it because, you know, they donate and they making a contribution. And to me, that was wrong.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying a lot of the issues will come with misunderstanding each other's group, because we understand that certain Israelites they have different groups. You know, some believe certain things and some camps believe other things. And I would say that a lot of the elders and the leadership should have did a better job at bringing the people together instead of just letting it go splat.
Just like bringing everybody together all at once.
Right. Because and what happens is, and like y'all was saying, yes, you do lose a certain part of you or who you used to be, because you know COY was COY. You know, we moved how we moved. Me personally, as being in this walk, I didn't see a group that moved like we did. You know, nobody moved like we did. Now, when you're bringing other groups in, you know, it's gonna be some friction somewhere. But I think to a degree, it should be the elders and, like I said, the leadership trying to bring the people together. It has to be. Hold up, wait. We just can't stop doing what we do. I get what you're saying, but if everybody else is searching for the same creator we're searching for, it has to be a breaking ground for somebody. Somebody has to step in and say, hold up, no, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was everybody.
Right.
That
exactly.
You know, because I love
right,
my
right.
ET. ET is my girl. But it was definitely a thing that I felt like could have been resolved with leadership.
Right.
Like for us to voice our opinions. And I know one time we actually did all come together. And I'm typically the outspoken one. I struggle biting my tongue sometimes. And, you know, I said some things.
Right.
And again, I didn't felt like I was heard. It was
Right.
kind of like, oh, here go Kia, you know, and it was like, you know what? I'm stop talking. I'm not going to say anything else. And then what did we do? We started texting. So then it was like,
Right.
why your head always down? Because I'm texting Jira. Because y'all got me upset again.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality. We got a group text and we all got attitudes and ready to go home.
Right.
I wasn't there when the integration was full on, but I will say that we can integrate. We integrated them feast days.
Facts.
So,
we did.
You know, we did great
Yes.
at those feast days.
Yeah.
You know, of course, there's always something when you're bringing a bunch of groups of people together and it's going to be a little bit of riff or, you know,
Right.
little hiccup here and there, but those things went pretty smooth.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys are describing is a situation where you have people who need to be more right. In a group setting where, I mean, we're talking about several different perspectives of what the
Right.
right is.
Right.
And you find that in all religious. So you go back to that, okay, we're back to dealing with these religious tenets. This is how it was done. This is how it should be done. Who said that? And how did you get that from that? And where did you get this information? And we're just different. It's like the times are different right now. So having a good understanding and being able to understand, like, okay, there are going to naturally be adjustments because we're just not experiencing those same things that we're reading about, and we also are reading stories that people told from their perspective.
Right.
So,
Okay. You got something?
you're welcome.
Okay. Cool.
I
All right.
have to agree with Zaya. We did fellowship and we came together with several different groups and individuals and we did well. But like in any situation, sometimes you might not just, get it with that one. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it was.
The point that you brought up, Kia, about it being financial, that's like a really, really important aspect, right? Because like that's like a universal thing, right? Whenever you're doing something because of money, a lot of times it can kind of
Pull it out.
make you do it in a way that you might not be completely in alignment with what works. And yeah, so
I say something about that. When that started being more, not saying, oh Lord, how can I say it? I just felt like some people felt like, oh, why we got, it was like, oh, now we acting like this and we acting like that. It's like, well, how do you expect your organization to keep moving if you don't contribute? So it's like, and it wasn't like it was made like a chore or like we had to. But it was just like, I felt like some people was like, why are they asking for money, or, why they asking, like, if you're here, then why not? You're getting fed. So it was like.
And that came out of house budgets.
I mean, the lights
it was
are
like,
on.
I can't do this. But now me coming from, and I'm like you said, disclaimer, but from church, it wasn't a problem for me to give an offering to, you talk about tithing and, stuff like that. But if all of that is going back into what you're a part of, then why is it a problem?
Right.
Just like your household, you give into your household so they can keep functioning. So it wasn't like, it's like, if you're giving this is what we want you to be. If you're giving this amount, this is what we want you to be. It's just like, what can you do? And that's what it is. It wasn't like a big thing. I mean, I remember the brothers even forgetting to even go check the box.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that was something that they, homed in on.
Yeah. When we had the money box.
Right.
Yeah. And some weeks it wasn't checked. You could
Right.
come back next Sabbath day and lift it up. The money still sitting inside there. So it wasn't like we constantly checked it to see who put it in there or see who was running to the box or stuff like that. It wasn't like that. But I get it, especially with the financing. You have to have those things, especially if you have a building and you have lights on and water on. These things constantly has to be paid. Somebody has to pay it. And and I'm pretty sure a lot of these brothers in here and sisters in here, it came directly out of their account sometimes, and and I would like to say I'm glad they had it and was able to give it like that. Because some people just didn't have it, and we got it, and we understood that some people just didn't have it. So with them making that contribution to those things, it was a place in their heart to say, no, I have to do this. I don't take it any other kind of way. I just know that within their heart, it has to be done, and it has to be portrayed. It's like how I understand things now in anything I deal with. I don't expect anything from anybody. Like, my Isha, she takes care of certain bills, but I don't expect her to take care of the bill. Because if it don't get paid, guess who gonna go pay it? Right, me. So I'm gonna have to bring it out and pay it. Especially if they don't pay it. So I don't put no expectation on it. Then I'm not in a state of, man, you should have paid, you should have did. Because now you got to mess with your psyche or your mental and say, hold up, why she didn't pay it? Or now I'm mad. Nah, I ain't no need her because I don't expect her to pay it. But I think, and that's where I think a lot of the brothers, they were their hearts was at, and it was like, yo, we just got to pay it. Now, even if we had to come together and say, hey, you got 50, you got 50, you got 50, okay, well, we got all these 50s, we can get it paid. And that's, sometimes I'm pretty sure it happened like that. So